change in the conditions. Team finds a way to battle back, get a point. If you could, just the opening thoughts from the first game of 2025.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the group, to be honest. I thought the response, I think for a first game to have that type of continuity and buy-in and staying true to ourselves in difficult conditions, obviously, but yeah, I thought we were on the front foot. Spaces were really tight for us to play, so we picked up different areas and players were extremely coachable and approached the game in a professional manner. And to come here and get a point, it sets a good foundation for us moving forward in the direction we want to take the group. But it's if this is a small percentage of what we're going to be about, then really good things are to come for the group for sure.
Before I turn over to questions, Sean, you made the change to bring in Hannah. It seemed like she really sparked the offense in her first game with the club. I know you don't like to talk about individual performances, just kind of what different dynamic does she bring that we saw kind of on the field for the first time and watching Courage with her on the team?
Yeah, I mean, she's one that can stretch the line, so she's a little bit more direct in her movements. We're not really asking her to drop in as much, maybe as we do with Jay and Manaka and Ash. So she gives a variety to something maybe we haven't had in years past. Probably, I mean, heck, I'd probably say since 2019, 20. So, she's still very raw in many ways, but at the same time, a wonderful kid and, has a great spirit about herself and is thrilled to be here. So, yeah, we just felt that the way the game was going, we can stretch the lines a little bit. Her movement creates trouble in the goal, and at the end of the day, it's a good response.
Evan, we'll turn it over to you to start for questions.
Hey, Coach. Very nice performance by the team in this first game, as you mentioned. We talked a little bit, or I've talked to Riley throughout training camp, as with some players departing the team, she has had to step up, and she immediately does that, especially with the great effort by Jaden Shaw to get that shot in. Can you speak about Riley's performance and what you've seen about her growth in this offseason, that kind of speaking to her maturity on the field as a young player that's rising in the NWSL in terms of talent?
Yeah, I mean, look, we signed Riley for a reason. We don't give gifts out here. So she deserves to be here. And the first year she came in, she was injured, and this, last year it was a struggle for her because one, Rumi was here. And it was a learning opportunity for Riley. She hadn't adjusted to the speed and stuff, and you could still see that in some moments today, but she's a really good footballer look, there's no one harder on themselves than Riley, and I mean that in a good way. And we're just trying to hone that and get her to be a little bit more disciplined in her positions in certain areas that we want. But she's sky's the limit for that young kid, and you have to remember she's 19, right? So we forget we started 4 20-year-old players or younger. And for us to put on a performance like that, that's pretty special.
A quick follow-up, Coach, if you'll let me. I know you've seen Casey Murphy do it over and over again, but some of those saves she was making tonight, just incredibly acrobatic and unbelievable, jaw-dropping, especially that one in the 76th minute. I mean, does she still shock you when she does stuff like that?
No. She's a world-class goalkeeper. She does her job. She's professional in her approach. Nothing surprises me anymore with Case. She's improving with her feet. And we're thrilled to have her with us because you need people like that. You need a keeper like that can, when the moment calls upon itself, she'll keep us in it. And she did that today. But because we have the ball a lot, sometimes it's hard for a keeper, and they have to be positive in their response. And she did that. So yeah, nothing surprises me anymore with Case. I've been around her since she's 15, so kid just keeps getting better.
Thanks, Coach.
Trevor, go ahead.
Thanks, Coach. Trevor with the Lions Pitch newsletter and podcast. It's all about the Courage. I was curious, as you've kind of moved through the off season, you probably had a myriad of things you were thinking about, and there was a lot to like that we saw in the pitch today. And I was curious, maybe in the last few weeks of training and from our data point of one match, just what struck you as something that's shifting a little bit that you've been really working on or really thinking about and liked what you've been seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing everyone base our season on tonight's performance. So I can't wait for that. Yeah, we laugh, but at the same time, we also have to realize that you know, we play a certain brand and it's not going to be perfect all the time. And I think the thing that's transitioned from the beginning of preseason to now is beginning of preseason, we didn't feel that we didn't have an urge to stretch the lines and be dynamic to get behind. And I think we're starting to see more of that. You know, we have so many footballers that they all want to come and get the ball, but we've worked on it a little bit. As everyone knows, the hardest thing to do is score goals in this sport, and we're going to get opportunities. It's just a matter of what we do with them. But, you know, again, I would probably say we're more ahead of where we were compared to starting last year, just in terms of the sophistication and the things that we talked about. So the rotations, you know, people also have to realize the group that started today have only played together one time in preseason. They've trained together a total of 3 weeks together because of an international break. So at the end of the day, it's going to take time to evolve. And that's why, you know, the way we play, that's going to have to happen. But I mean, again, I don't care who you are. When you look at it, I would like to think that people were somewhat entertained, and sometimes you don't. 3 points isn't the only way to get a positive. There's a lot of positives no matter what, and we're taking a bunch home with us. So,
Great. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Jeff Kassouf, go ahead.
Hey, Sean,
Hey, Jeff.
apologies. I think I might have come on a little bit late, so I'm hoping I'm not repeating, but just to the point that you were just talking of the fluidity and building it, just specifically to like Jaden and Manaka up front. How did you like that movement? What did you see from it? And how much of that is what you're looking for in the long run, I guess, in terms of just that dynamic?
Yeah, I think it's you know, obviously I mean, they're both special talents, right? So, you know, then you play, you know, you're adding Ash to that. I thought Sully was fantastic tonight, but I think um the connection is going to be an important one because sometimes you can get a little bit too cute, and we don't want to overdo it. You know, we want to get Jay and I give Jay a bunch of freedom. You know, I think she's a player that, you know, she can drift and find different spaces, but we want to get her on the half turn where she could be a dynamic and take out players with the next pass. She did that a couple of times. We just didn't have runners really extending behind. But the idea is, you know, between Ash, Manaka, Jay, Feely, like anyone that's you know, those rotations, it's just making sure we're exchanging at the right time, where sometimes we drop in and rotate and we end up in the same spot. So there's nothing above the line. So yeah, I mean, Jeff, you've been around it long enough. Footballers gravitate to footballers, and you know, they were already after the game, they were already talking about some things that they saw together, and I think you saw more of the combinations and one touch sequences in the second half than in the first half because I felt we were more connected and we pinned them back a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be pretty fun to watch that evolve because it's a pretty cool trio that we can have, and then you bring it on, you know, Court and Aline and, you know, other players to be able to join in. So it'll be fun to watch for sure.